So you can certainly imagine that $930 a month comes down to a very concrete and difficult decision for families and individuals to either pay the rent and keep the lights on or put food on the table. You'll hear a phrase often used about food insecurity. And when you hear that 1 out of every 6 people in Sonoma County faces food insecurity, it is saying that 1 out of every 6 is struggling with hunger. But it's just sharing it in a more profound way that most of us do wake up every morning and we know where our breakfast is going to be, what it's going to be, when it's going to be. And for a lot of our neighbors in need, that's not that same level of security. So next time you hear food insecurity, you know what that's referring to. Hunger in Sonoma County, right now, back up to that, those that need our help right now, of the 82,000, 44% are children in our community. So that's a staggering number as well. So we'll need to continue to work together to have our eyes on that next generation of Sonoma County and what we can do to turn these numbers around. The food bank, the Redwood Empire Food Bank, is one of 200 food banks in our country, and we are the largest food relief organization in Sonoma County. Right now, last year we distributed 15 million pounds of food, so we're very proud of that. Oftentimes people may think of us as a soup kitchen or services along those lines. But really, you can think of the Redwood Empire Food Bank as a food distributor. We're distributing staple grocery type items every day through 20 direct service programs, as well as helping about 178 partner agencies. So that would include people like Soup Kitchens, Redwood Gospel Mission, St. Vincent de Paul's Dining Room, etc. So again, we're providing food for about 82,000. We support smaller food banks in Humboldt, Del Norte, Lake, and Mendocino counties, but primarily those that we serve are in Sonoma County. You can think of our food bank off of Brickway. We just moved there in 2013 as the food hub for the whole county, but there's really not any neighborhood in Sonoma County that we don't head out to help. So we're at the hub, and then we work with our partner agencies. We call them our neighborhood network. And we also have some great examples here are COTS, Living Room, Catholic Charities, Salvation Army, CalServes. Here in Sebastopol, we're doing a lot of great work here too with our friends at the Veterans Building and the Sunrise Rotary. Actually, you all help with the direct service program as well. This is a really nice, my family had moved to Healdsburg in the late 70s, and I lived in Southern California for about 20 years. So when I would come back and visit, I thought, well, how great is this? Look at Healdsburg, it's really growing, and Sonoma County is thriving. And I just started working for the food bank about 3 years ago, and I was just blown away by the fact that there are 716,000 people that, or meals that are needed in Healdsburg. And you can see throughout the whole county, it's not, we have these assumptions on where hunger exists, but you can see by this map that it's really in every neighborhood that needs our help. Here in West County, there is about 901,000 meals that are needed. Generally, how a food bank works is that we reach out to, we go directly to food distributors and food manufacturers. That's a common misunderstanding, is that food banks rely on surplus or quote-unquote leftovers from retailers. We'll definitely take those leftovers, but we really have to be very savvy and negotiate directly with food distributors and food manufacturers to secure that 15 million pounds of food that we distribute every year. So once we've secured those donations, thanks to volunteer groups, we are able to repackage that food, put it back onto our trucks through our direct service programs, and we also help fortify the partner agencies, our neighborhood network. I think most of you here, especially in West County, will be happy to know that most of our food, or more than half of the food that we distribute, is fresh produce. We've seen record numbers of anemia and diabetes in our county's children, and throughout the whole population, actually. So it's so critical for us to be able to provide food, number one, but also make sure that individuals have access to healthy food. Most of us can take $1 and probably get something to eat, but it's not going to necessarily be the healthiest food. And what we've seen is that less and less people have access to healthy food. We're very proud of the fact that we've been able to distribute more than about 8 million pounds of food is fresh produce. We have 3 hunger initiatives serving children, seniors, and families. Some quick examples for programs dedicated to children. Thanks to Rotarians here locally, they've helped us to fund Backpack. That's one of my favorite from this list. And Backpack is where we head out to schools on either Thursdays or Fridays, and we're able to let those children fill up their backpacks with food for themselves and their families to get them through the weekend. Another example is the summer lunch program. Oftentimes children, unfortunately, their one meal that they can rely on is the school lunch. So when they're on summer break, summer lunch picks up where the school lunches leave off. And right now we've been sending out food to the library here in Sebastopol, as well as Castle Childcare. So these are very important links that we've been able to work with the community to make sure that the community is taken care of. Some programs for seniors. We're here at the Veterans Building providing what we call a CSFP box, Commodity Supplemental Food Program. And that is where we provide about 30 pounds of staple grocery items in addition to about 15 to 20 pounds of fresh produce and loaves of bread for seniors that are struggling in the community. So again, thank you for your support to continue those programs. And for families, a lot of our programs that we are working day in and day out to fortify is our partner agencies that are there to help families in the community. There's various ways that you can help. The food bank and, of course, donating food like we did today is critically important to making sure that people have access to food. Donating funding, volunteering, advocating for just telling our story. There's unfortunately a lot of people who just aren't aware. We live in a county that's a beautiful county, it's full of resources, it's seemingly affluent, but at the end of the day, 1 out of 6 people is it's too large of a number, and we can do better. And that's why I'm here today, is to just really call on you all to take those action steps to turn the ship around. I also wanted to let you know that for every $1 that you donate, we can turn that into 2 healthy meals. One of my favorite ways to rephrase that powerful statement is that for every $1 that you donate, we can turn that into $4 worth of food distributed. So when you're looking at investing in nonprofits and supporting who you're going to decide to support, just please know that you have a tremendous return on your investment at the food bank. And volunteering is always something that's needed. The boxes that I mentioned for the seniors, we need to pack 4,000 of those every single month. Morgan Stanley, Jim's team is, I often tell them when they're there at the facility that we should set a Morgan Stanley standard for volunteer productivity. And all of our volunteers that join us bring us just a tremendous spirit of generosity and work ethic to doing something. And volunteering is one of the most concrete ways that you can give back to your community and also just connect with the people that you're there with, whether that's colleagues from work or families. Everybody can volunteer. My contact information is there, but again, I just want to close with thanking you all for letting me talk to you, and also just open up the floor to for any questions. Again, we can't do this without you, so thank you.
Jen, last time you were in there, we bagged like 7,000 or 8,000 pounds of carrots, and it seemed like it was just a drop in the bucket for the amount of food you had there. Where are you getting all the fresh produce in that quantity?
So that's a really good question. More than, I think it's about 72% of the food that we receive is actually donated. Carrots come in and you usually don't notice the difference that they're, so we back up. We go directly to the source, so we work directly with people like the Central Valley growers, or because we're affiliated with 200 of the food banks in our country and we're on the West Coast, that we can trade our surplus of donated citrus from the Central Valley for apples up in Washington. So it is 8 million pounds of fresh produce. Not all of it is going to be repackaged for our food recipients. A lot of it is shipped out in bulk. But to answer your question as far as how we get that food in, the growers actually donate that product because it's a process of culling. It's culling the good from the bad. The word is C-U-L-L. And if you notice that the carrots were misshaped or that the coloring was off, because consumers have gotten so fussy over the quality of food, the growers cannot sell that. So fortunately, I think it was about 10 years ago, food banks basically said, hey, that's a crazy amount of food waste. We definitely want to take those items and get that distributed to perfectly good food. Let's get it out to people that need it. You'd probably notice it more on apples or oranges. Sometimes we get apples that are too small or too large, but again, it all comes down to, from a marketing perspective, that it's pulling the good from the bad, when really it's perfectly good food. So that's where we get. This gentleman back here.
Yeah, thank you. Recently on television, they were interviewing people at Rayleigh's at corporate headquarters about how, because of the drought, they're going to start using some of these vegetables that may not be look as good as they say, because with the drought you need to use all of the vegetables that you can. Do you think that's going to have an effect on you at all? Or? It
can. The nature of food banking is very unpredictable, and thankfully we have a team. When you look at our executive team or even our management team, fortunately we have a very talented team that's looking out 6 months, 1 year, 5 years down the road. So the Redwood Empire Food Bank has been food banking for 27 years, and because of that we've been able to offset any dips in our supply chain. But it is tough, and oftentimes that may be something that a grower would have donated and we need to purchase. So that's where funding can come in, so that we keep that consistent supply of food to our food recipients, because that's what's the priority. Start with this gentleman over here.
I would appreciate it if you had any ideas of how we might be able to serve more people from our location here. We do a modest amount, 24 people a week now, and I saw that one of your priorities is for children. If you have any ideas of how we might maybe think about or move into other areas,
absolutely,
do a little bit more.
Yeah,
I'd like dialogue with you.
That'd be great. And I do have my contact information on my business card, so please make sure that you get my contact information and I get yours, because today I really feel like this is more of a reconnect with this chapter or this club, because it's very difficult for us to work to find the right community organizers, and you're aware of what we're doing. You've seen our results, so we just need to set up a plan and make that plan happen. But we do need the help, so we can find some immediate ways to continue to focus on West County and make this area stronger with your club here in Sebastopol.
What kind of assistance, if any, do you get from the federal or state government? I'm thinking of the food stamp program and farm bill and subsidies for local growers. How's that work?
Microphone.
So,
he hasn't.
So my question is, what kind of assistance do you get from the federal and state government? I'm thinking of food stamp, I'm thinking of the farm bill and subsidies and so forth. Do they assist in what way?
So there's a couple layers to that. We do get government assistance. When you look at our funding or supply of food, rather, even one of a critical program of ours is the program that I had mentioned called the CSFP boxes. That is a very important component for keeping food out to our seniors in our community. Those boxes are underwritten by the USDA, so that's one example of many of how the government supports food banks. And the USDA basically works with food manufacturers to create quote-unquote generic type grocery items. So when we're packing those boxes, it's not a brand name of rolled oats, it's a program that's been manufactured for the government, and the government supplies food banks with those staple grocery items. So that's one example. Another example, as you mentioned, food stamps, CalFresh. We just opened up a new office at our main facility called Food Connections, and that is the first time that a food bank has a program like that. And what it does is it provides direct enrollment into food stamps, into CalFresh. So we can work with somebody that may not be at a point where they need one of our direct service programs, but they need a little bit of extra assistance so they can apply for CalFresh. The average benefit for CalFresh when people are eligible is about $250 for groceries each month, and that's significant. That can really make the difference of a family being able to get the food to the kids that they need. So, thank you.
The question I have is having people access the food that you give them. Because right now we're in several generations of people who are using fast food, dollar meals at McDonald's, and if you give the family fresh, where they have to prepare and cook, which might be more nutritious, their fallback position is the easy one. What programs do you have to help support people to prepare the food that you provide, if any?
So there's a couple of innovative things that come to mind. First of all, you talked about just the kind of the education or the motivation of really trying to get people to take a little bit more time to prepare those meals. Sometimes families don't have the time, but nutrition education is something that I feel like is very innovative and different than about the Redwood Empire Food Bank compared to other food banks. We have a program called the Bacon for Harvest Pantry program where we bring our targets are food deserts within the county. We head out with a truckload of fresh produce and food, staple grocery items, and not only do we distribute the food, but we also provide nutrition education. So we're working with families, and we're saying, hey, you know what, this is, let's sample, blanking on the name of the salad, a modified Waldorf salad. And what our team of interns did was they took the chopped up celery sticks and apples and I think it was Greek yogurt, and they put together a fun, kid-friendly Waldorf salad. And the parents were able to sample it. They were able to see how quick it was to make that recipe, and they were inspired to take those donated items and create the healthier choice for their kids. Same thing, you know, instead of having a choice between a bag of potato chips or carrots, why not offer a choice between celery sticks and carrot sticks? So we do head out to the community every day to educate and work with families so that we can really shift that around. So that's one of the ways that we can make those changes. This gentleman here.
You were starting to talk about the California Fresh. It's an EBT type program. Where people get about $250 to spend. They usually take that and they spend retail. Is there another way that might take advantage?
So are you asking, you know, instead of retail, another example where they could use that, or? Okay, so that's the question. So absolutely, CalFresh is something that if families are eligible for, they could use at our own Value Market, which is at our main facility, or they could shop at Safeway or G&G. So they could use it. Most grocery stores take EBT cards. But that all being said, what's really great about the Food Connections office is that if somebody's eligible for CalFresh, they're more than likely going to be eligible for one of our direct service programs. We really want to make sure that if people need the assistance, that they're not having to necessarily pay for that food. But oftentimes, if our food, the amount of food that we're able to give them or the allotment, they might need just a little bit more. So that's why it's good to have access to both of the programs. Again, $930 a month is just not a whole lot, and after you've paid rent, it's just, you don't have food. So it's important to have, get people connected to their resources.
just like to remind the members of the club that you all got an email suggesting you might bring some canned food today. We're going to extend that for one more week. So if you forgot to bring some food this week, bring some canned food next week, and we'll see it gets to the right place.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Would you talk a little bit about the diabetes education program?
Thank you for bringing that up. Again, innovation at the Redwood Empire Food Bank, I'm just consistently inspired and proud of. One of the programs that we have amongst the 20 direct service programs is called our Diabetes Wellness Program. My mother struggles with diabetes, and it's becoming increasingly a problem for seniors in our community and for children in our community. The Redwood Empire Food Bank about the food that's appropriate for their disease. So that's really important, but also too, again, going back to nutrition education, where we're able to work with the community. We provide free testing and screening for people that may not even be aware that they are, that they may have diabetes unless they turn things around dietary-wise. So the Diabetes Wellness Program is in its 4th year now, and we're very proud of it and hope to continue to keep that program provided for the community.
Where did the funding come from?
I believe it was Bayer, but I'm not positive. So, but I can let you know about that. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the challenges of our Sebastopol Interchurch food pantry is maintaining fresh food. And one of the challenges is that people dump stuff the Safeway gives us a big load of stuff way past its pull date.
Right.
What do you do? I know there's some cushion in those pull dates, but what do you do with suppliers that do you move that stuff on through the system, or do you cull it out?
That's a really good question. So most of the time, again, because we're working directly with food manufacturers and distributors, we don't run into that problem. And we're seeing more and more through food drives that people are being very mindful of actually purchasing food rather than clearing out their cabinet. We tend not to run into that challenge as much as before. That being said, when we do receive items that are, there's a difference between, and you'll probably look at this now, when you look at a canned food of items, sometimes they have it's tagged as best buy or sell by. So if it says sell by, the manufacturer is basically saying this food is not good after today. But if it says best buy, there are some items that we would still distribute. So that is kind of the defining point. And most food banks will distribute food that is past its best buy date it varies depending on the type of product, but anywhere from 3 to 5 years. We've been seeing the turnaround time though for most of our food. Most of the food that we go out, most of it's donated, that we're rarely having to send out food that's even past the best buy date. So again, it's just a consciousness that's changing now. So it's good.
There's one. As a token of our appreciation, and that was speaker gift for you. Measure your impacts of that. And I also have a card for you. Oh, look. There's many. So we have a door prize, and I'd like you to draw one of these tickets and that's for them. Yeah.
2510.
Oh, 2510. Yes. Well, it's one of these. I'm not sure which one. No, that's fine. Okay, well. We have a door prize, for polling. Tilbury joke, somebody. Who is that?
Who is that? Who's
Who
that?
is that? Who is that mystery person?
Charles. It up. Well, we'll find out. Wayne Whitney.
Think quick, Wayne.
Does anybody have a Chuck Tilbury joke ready to go?
Okay, that one.
I could laugh for you,
Okay, you know who's the guy that's late at night that has the 10 best things?
David Leonard.
Okay, this is like Letterman, only 5. Okay, it's 5 rules to remember in life. 1, money cannot buy happiness, but it's more comfortable to cry in a BMW than in a Gremlin. 2, forgive your enemy, but remember that non-Rotarian person's name. 3, if you help someone when they're in trouble, they will remember you when you're in trouble again. 4, many people are alive only because it's illegal to shoot them. And last, but the best, alcohol does not solve any problems, but then neither does milk.